In this video, we're going to learn how to use the fences method for metric to English or English to English unit conversions. We're going to be using the green sheet, but we're going to use the table to the top left that has English to English and English to metric conversion numbers on it. The fences method is simply a framework for writing down fractions in order to convert from one unit to another. We first start with a unit that's given to us, 3.5 feet. Simply draw your, quote, fence and put the unit that's given in the top left corner. Underneath it will always be a 1, but you don't have to write this. The only time you would write this is if you had a rate, a unit over a unit. So if this was 3.5 feet per hour, you'd put hour there. But since there's no second unit, it's not a rate, you're just going to put a 1, or you don't have to put anything at all. If you're converting from feet to inches, you're going to take this unit right here and put it on the bottom. Now the reason is, if you're converting from feet to inches, you no longer want to see feet in your answer. So the only time you can kind of get rid of the unit is to cancel it out or divide it by itself. So what happens here is you have feet over feet, much like any number divided by itself, turns into 1. So we cross it out. We have a conversion for inches to feet. This is the one we're going to convert to, so I'm going to circle it so I know I'm done writing down the number of fences. So feet to feet cancels out. Inches is the one I want to convert to. Now, what numbers go where here? There's 12 inches in every foot. So the 12 goes with the inches. The 1 goes with the foot. You'll notice that I wrote down the units first and the numbers second. That is because students will frequently write down the numbers in the incorrect spots if they write down the numbers first. They try to make up rules about where the 1 goes always or never. Those are never, those rarely work for students. I always suggest that you write down the units first and then write the numbers afterwards. And the numbers will go where the units will go. So, to actually calculate, you're going to multiply like they're fractions, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. In this case, denominator 1 times 1. We don't need to really calculate that because 1 times 1 is 1. So essentially what you're doing here is 3.5 times 12. 3.5 times 12 will get you 42 inches. And that's it. You're essentially writing two fractions. You're going to multiply them, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, and you get your final answer. Let's go on to another unit conversion, but this one's going to be metric to English. So we're going from meters to feet, so 15 meters to feet. First step, draw your fence and write your unit you're converting from in the top left corner. There's no second unit, so we don't have to write anything below it. If you're converting from meters, you want to cancel those out, so put meters in the bottom. Feet on top, so we can cross those out, circle the feet. If you go to your green sheet, you'll realize that for every 1 foot, it's 0.3048 meters. You'll notice again that I wrote the units first, the numbers second, so I don't mix up where these numbers go. So now it's time to find our answer. So you're going to multiply across and then divide. So 15 times 1, we should know by now, is 15. So that essentially you're going to be doing 15 divided by 0.3048. So 15 divided by 0.3048. And what you get is approximately 49.21 feet. We're going to round it to the nearest hundredth. This makes sense because a meter is larger than a foot. So if you decrease the unit, the number should get bigger. It's from 15 to 49. It takes more feet to measure than in meters. So there should be more of these than meters. Last example. 18 miles per hour to kilometers per hour. Same thing. 18 miles goes up top. Since this is a rate where there's two units being compared, you're going to write 1 on top, and 1 on bottom. How you know which one goes where? Miles right here is in the numerator. Hours is in the denominator. So they go in the appropriate spots. You'll notice that the hours do not change. I am not going to convert this. I'm going to circle it and say I'm good with keeping hours. Miles, however, changes to kilometers. So I'm going to write miles down here. They're going to cancel out. There is a unit conversion from miles to kilometers. It is that 1 mile is 1.61 kilometers. So kilometers are smaller than miles, which means that you should get a larger number than 18. Circle your kilometers. You know when to stop. And let's calculate what it's going to be. So 18 times 1.61 across. You can get 28.98. You don't need to divide by 1 because you know it doesn't change anything. So this is going to be equal to 28.98 kilometers per hour. This ends up being exact here, so we write an equal sign. Also, if you were to have a rate that had 2 units and you converted to 2 different units, you would need to convert the second unit as well. So for example, this was hours and you wanted to go to kilometers per second, you would need to convert hours the same way you converted kilometers from meters. You would just extend your fence in that direction. So remember that the fences method is used for metric to English or English to English conversions because, unlike metric to metric, they're not powers of 10 and you need to multiply some fractions together. As long as you use your green sheet in the top left corner where the 2 tables of values or unit conversions are at, everything should go okay.